What's up, everybody? I'm Mckenty. This is my second channel, and this is your home for my Twitch highlights and my podcast. So if you like this and you want to see more of that and you want to join the live streams, there's a link to that in the description of this video. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Next thing I wanted to talk about is black metal, because somebody asked me in my latest viewer comments video, which will be out next week, some examples of black metal that I liked, and I kind of touched on it a little bit, but I didn't get into detail because the truth is I actually do like some black metal a lot, just not the stuff that probably a lot of my audience likes. The truth is I have pretty cult taste in black metal, and I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about why. The reason that black metal to me is sort of underwhelming as a genre, especially at this point in time, is because I think it's no longer threatening or weird or dangerous, which I think is the whole point of the style, or at least to me it was. For black metal to now be just sort of yet another style of metal that it's just one of the templates you can pick, right? Like when you start a metal band, you're like, oh, are we thrash metal? Are we death metal? Are we black metal? Are we gent? You know, you just check one of the boxes. It's like the character builder in an RPG. Oh no, our primary class is deathcore, but our secondary class is black metal. So we're blackened death metal or blackened deathcore. People should play what they want. I'm not here to hate on anybody's choice of what they want to play or invalidate that. I'm just saying my personal opinion is that at this point, if black metal just means a style of riffing and maybe like the font on your logo, to me, that's not interesting. The whole point of black metal, and the reason why it was interesting to me in the first place, is because it was shocking and different and new and threatening. I discovered black metal in '94, I think, on some news group back in the day. Before websites were a thing, there was a thing called news groups, which was like essentially like a message board. And I was on those back in like '94, '95. And I found out about all that, you know, Norwegian black metal stuff when it was happening, like kind of in real time when it was hitting the news in Norway and stuff like that. So I was aware of it when it was happening, and I checked it all out. I got the Emperor in the Nightside Eclipse album in '95 or whenever it came out, and I thought it was pretty cool. And that stuff was interesting back then, not just because of the drama, but because it legitimately was cool art. If you listen to those guys talking back then, what they said about it is that it was a reaction to death metal and thrash metal becoming like too technical and clean and standardized and stuff like that, which I agree with. I mean, I like a lot of, you know, that kind of death metal, but it is true that it had become very like clean and sort of corporate in a way. And they threw all that shit out and made just like nasty, fucked up, weird outsider art. And I respect that. The stuff I like is what I would call outsider art. And I have tremendous respect for that. Like outsider art is usually made by fucking weirdos, like kind of by definition. That is something I will always respect. You know, that's why I like stuff like Cemetery, the rapper Cemetery, or, you know, Lil B, any of that kind of stuff that you're just like, what the fuck is this? When it comes out and it feels like it's not even breaking the rules. It feels like the people who made this shit don't even know what the fucking rules are. That's what I respect. Like the kind of stuff made by true fucking outcasts. Not the people, you know, who think of themselves as outcasts but are getting positive reviews from fucking Pitchfork and Vice, and they eat it up. They love black metal. So how can you say that it's anything threatening or revolutionary or dangerous at all when the musical gatekeepers fucking eat it up? I don't think you can. The people who are true fucking outcasts, that's what I respect. And so I wanted to talk about some of that kind of black metal and talk about why I like it so much. Yes, like Tommy Wiseau black metal, exactly. In my black metal video, I actually was pretty complimentary of black metal. I said a lot of good things about it, but I also, you know, said some not so good things, and of course that's all people focused on. The first black metal band that I got into was a band called Havohej, which they're actually from New Jersey. One of the very, very first bands to do black metal in America. They started out as a band called Profanatica back in the late 80s. This was the band way back in, I don't know if this particular photo is from then, but way back in like 87, 89, they were doing this kind of shit in America, which like was unheard of in America. These kind of logos, anytime a band has this kind of weird, like super ornate logo with all the curly cues and shit on it, that's like the sign that the band is truly fucking unhinged. This was so fucking weird to see this kind of shit in like the 90s, like early 90s, late 80s from an American band was crazy. This was the album that most people are into. This is called Dethrone the Son of God. This was sort of their popular album, which I like, but it's not my favorite stuff, but it's very good. Popular black metal, 2,000 views, yes. This song's pretty cool. Like, this shit is so... This, like, pretty raw, weird shit. This was a little bit of a meme song back then.
Rip the sacred flesh, sodomize the holy asshole.
I remember we all thought this was really funny in high school.
Throne of God.
But anyway, this whole album sounds like this. This is the accessible Havohej stuff, okay? This is like the pop Havohej. The stuff that I like is this. I got this in 94 as well. This is a picture disc. I don't know if you can really see the artwork, but it's fucking weird. It's this dude just like standing here in a field, like whatever, black metaling. This is the shit that I like. By the way, this is not an intro. This is the whole song. Is he doing air guitar or attempting to summon the dead? Exactly. Less genting in a colored room, more black metaling in a field. I love this. Like, this is some fucking weird-ass, unhinged outsider shit. Where's the song? This is it. This is why I like it. This is truly challenging, unsettling, weird shit. There's no fucking guitar. There's no... Well, there's sort of drums. Like, this is when they just completely reject any of the conventions of music, basically. And this is what I respect. People who are just, like, completely throwing out the fucking rulebook. Like, this is a vibe. It's very artsy. Yes, this is, like, avant-garde, weird-ass shit. This is the drummer of Profanatica, Paul Ledney. I think it's basically just him. The dude's insane. Like, what a fucking weirdo. Like, imagine how fucking strange this guy is. Now, this isn't even as weird as Havohej gets. Here's an unreleased song from back then called The Purple Cloak. Like, look at this logo. Any logo like this, you already know you're fucking in for some weird shit. These, like, really ornate logos with candles and worms and shit. This is fire to me. This is fucking so sick. Listen to this shit. This sounds like a fucking Star Wars sound effect looped. As far as I know, even black metal people don't really like this, because the fact of the matter is that stuff like Deathspell, Omega, and Watain and stuff is too polished. It's too fancy. It's all the things that these guys didn't like about death metal. You know, it's too commercial. Like, I probably sound like a total gatekeeper saying this, but I legitimately think that Deathspell Omega is, like, too commercial. Yeah, exactly. This is still boundary pushing by today's standards of black metal. This shit is fucking bizarre. Yes, black metal fans are entry-level black metal. That's actually what I think. Like, I love this. I still listen to this a lot. Like, if I'm writing a video or something like that, I'll listen to this for like 20 minutes or something in the background. This is such a good fucking song title, too. Purple Cloak. Like, what a fucking great song title. It's so atmospheric. Like, it's not edgy, it's strange. It makes you think of a purple cloak and like, what? Why would there be a purple cloak? Yeah, the logo I think is also fire. I love it. Here's the single. This is the commercial song. Yeah, this is the hook. My favorite Havohej stuff is even weirder than this. This is my favorite stuff. First edition D&D vibes on that artwork, exactly. This is one of my favorite metal albums of all time, actually. This is a whole album. I won't play the whole thing, obviously. It's a lot of shit like this. The reason I think all like Deathspell and fucking Watain and all that stuff sucks is like, it sounds like fucking, I don't know, pop punk compared to this. It's very commercial. It's very safe. There's just nothing interesting about it to me. It's not outsider art. It's hipster shit. Like, listen to those vocals too. Man, this guy is so fucking weird. Like, this is truly like punishing anti-music, you know? It's borderline noise. It's just this like repetitive grating noise with this guy screaming over it. The cover art on this is really unnerving too for some reason. I don't know why. This is sort of like bizarre, bad, like PS1 cutscene artwork is really just unsettling to me. And then it just abruptly goes into this. This part is so weird. Listen to this. It's very hypnotic. This is what normal people assume metal is. So Havohej is probably like the weirdest shit. Well, no, I don't know if it's the weirdest shit, but if that's a little too weird for you, you might like this band Vaughn. They were kind of hype in the 90s. This is a little bit more accessible than Havohej, if that's too weird for you. A little bit more palatable. I dig the artwork. You can't fake this kind of just weirdness. You know what I mean? And that's what's missing from all this like newer black metal is it's like, it's not weird because they're not fucking weird people. They're not like bizarre fucking outcast fucking weirdos who live in a cabin on the outskirts of town, you know? A lot of people talk about the bad recordings. I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah, so that's Vaughn. I think they're pretty good. Havohej is my favorite. Vaughn is a little too straightforward for me, but it's pretty good. Another band I liked a lot from back then is Abruptum. Listening to this, my brain keeps going to something you like to talk about, Finn. Not this one specifically, but the Havohej stuff for sure. Why is it so long? So normally I criticize bands for writing intros that are too long because it's not accessible. This is exactly why I like Havohej for having songs that are really long and repetitive, because it's fucking punishing and unrelenting and not accessible, because it makes the song unpleasant and difficult to listen to. That is exactly why I like it. There are no dynamics, no hooks. Like, it just goes on and on and on and on, and it's fucking unpleasant and harsh and relentless. That's why I like it. Again, this artwork is amazing. Very weird in a way that you can't fake. That same unrelenting harshness creates a trance and starts to feel dreamy. That's exactly right. That's how I feel when I listen to Havohej. It is a trance-like, dreamy kind of feel. That's exactly why I like it. So this is Abruptum. The whole thing pretty much sounds like this. If I remember well, I think the singer called himself It because he was too evil to be human. That might be true. How many black metal bands are Nazis? Lots of them. Or at least close enough, which I don't, you know, obviously I don't endorse. What I like about this sort of stuff is like, these bands aren't Nazis because they're just so fucking weird that being a Nazi would be too structured for them. These people are such odd, dysfunctional, like probably mentally ill people that I don't think that things like political ideologies even apply to them. You know what I mean? They're on a planet where like political ideologies and stuff, I don't think their brains work that way. That's the Abruptum demo, which is very good. I actually like their album, which is a little bit more accessible. Again, you guys will laugh at calling this accessible, but it is more accessible. Yeah, the Nazi thing is hard to look past. I'm not going to listen to any band that I know is a Nazi band, for sure. This artwork here is some of the best ever. Like, this is the kind of just weird-ass shit. You can't fake this kind of energy. It's too weird. You know what I mean? Vamp Anthem, yeah. Playboy Cardi should sample this, you're right. I love this song. This song is so... This is such a catchy song to me. Again, this compared to like Deathspell and shit. What's that fucking terrible band that people like that just sounds like fucking, like literally sounds like Imagine Dragons? It's some black metal hipster band that everyone tells me I should listen to. Zeal and Ardor, yes. Zeal and Ardor literally sounds like Imagine Dragons. I'm not fucking exaggerating. If you like that, that's cool, whatever, but I probably sound like a gatekeeper. But why kid yourself that you listen to black metal? Why don't you just listen to Imagine Dragons? It's like you want accessible, pleasant music, but you want to call it black metal? Like, to me, that is like, it doesn't work that way. Like, if black metal isn't antagonizing and difficult and weird and off-putting, then don't listen to it. Like, I'm an extremist. I want to listen to either Ariana Grande or I want to listen to Abruptum. I don't want shit in the middle. You know what I mean? It should be outsider art, exactly. Zeal and Ardor is not outsider art. Zeal and Ardor is fucking... Like, you could play that at a fucking vegan coffee shop. You know what I mean? It's safe. And that, if you like it, that's cool. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that it is the most safe, fucking dumbed down, accessible, watered down, fucking easy listening. It's like if somebody misfiled an Imagine Dragons in the black metal section, you know? I just don't get it. So that's Abruptum. This is some of my favorite art of all time. The cover of Evil Genius. Like, how fucking weird is this? Great logo for one. This shit is so weird. I don't think you can fake this kind of fucking strangeness. These people are weird motherfuckers. Very fucking weird people. And that's what I respect. Do I want to be friends with them? Fuck no. Do I probably have anything at all in common with them? Absolutely not. But I respect that they are true outsiders. Immortal, I actually do like Immortal a lot. To me, Immortal would be the most accessible black metal that I like, I would say. This is the most commercial, safe kind of black metal that I like. I remember I got this on an Osmos Records compilation in like 95 or something, and it still slaps. I just love how fucking relentlessly aggressive this is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, do black metal people listen to this album or this band? I know they're popular. Everyone knows Immortal, obviously, but I feel like people don't listen to Immortal, but I could be wrong. Immortal is a poser band? Okay. I think this album's fucking great. I only listen to Zeal and Ardor. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. This album's, yeah, it's all blast beats all the time. Immortal is ridiculous, but they don't take themselves seriously. That's what I like. The other Immortal album that I like is Blizzard Beasts. Again, just relentless drumming. I love this album. This is so relentless and harsh. It's like hypnotic to me too. I'll listen to this whole album sometimes so I'm doing something really repetitive that I have to focus on. You know, if I'm like organizing a spreadsheet or something like that. Yes, Hellhammer's a fucking amazing drummer. This drumming is perfect. Listen to that shit. This is perfect drumming for black metal. Now, that, like I said, would be an example of the most accessible black metal that I like. We're gonna listen to some more really weird shit. This would be an example of it. There's all these bands from France, like in the late 90s, early 2000s or whatever, called the LLN bands, which I'm not going to try to pronounce the French word for it, but it's the Black Legions. And this is one of my favorite. I don't know how to pronounce this, but this is one of my favorites. This is sort of on the edge of depressive, suicidal black metal, but weirder. Choose a save file. Yeah, that's right. This is like you died. Choose a save file. This kind of shit. I love Dungeon Synth too. Yeah, that's from 97. He has a bunch of shit. Yeah, I like this stuff. Again, Deathspell Omega and stuff compared to this just sounds like it might as well just be pop, which is fine. If I'm going to listen to black metal, I want it to actually be difficult and challenging and weird and inaccessible. It should make people ask, how could you possibly like this? That is the point of black metal, is to be difficult and challenging. It should not get a fucking positive review in Brooklyn Vegan. When I give people advice, when I tell them to write hooks and focus on a chorus and chop out the intro and stuff, it's because they want their music to be popular. Right? So I'm giving them advice from that perspective. But if you just want to make weird ass shit, if you want to make, yes, paranoid and grotesque, if that's what you want, like, then I respect that. It's repetitive and harsh and like exhausting to listen to. Truly a punk ethos outsider art that anybody could make, but nobody does. Exactly. This sounds like how Detox feels. That's fucking exactly right. This sounds like how Detox and like clinical depression feels. Which is the point. It sounds like they take almost no effort to make, which is the biggest downfall to me. I get that, but this is like the labor theory of value, that that if it's harder to play or if there's more notes, that it has more value. But I don't agree with that. I think that the value of art is to make you feel something and to evoke an emotion or a mood. That's what this does. Totally understandable if you don't like it, because there's lots to not like about it. I mean, this is like some very fucking difficult music, but I think it's extremely successful art, and that is why I respect it. Just the same as, like, you know, you look at a Mark Rothko painting. People said all the same shit about Rothko. You know, like, he would do these kind of paintings, and people would be like, oh, well, that anybody could do that. That took 2 seconds. Well, yes, it didn't take very long to do. But that wasn't the point of Rothko. The point was to question the norms and values and traditions of representational art. I think a lot of this actually reminds me of Dada art, which I love. The Dadaists are one of my favorites. I mean, and this shit is like from 100 years ago. These motherfuckers are doing stuff like this 100 fucking years ago. Totally fair if you don't like this. It'd be more strange to me if you did like it. Yeah, Duchamp is maybe my favorite artist of all time. Dadaists are amazing. Just like, what a fuck you to the art world. Exactly, the art that anybody could make, but nobody does. Like, that is the statement in itself. Like, to deliberately make something that is unpleasant for most people to look at or listen to, or to make something that will make most people recoil and say that's terrible. Why would anybody make that? That's trash. That in itself means it is successful art, because you have made the viewer or the listener react. You have inspired an emotion in them. Music like this. For anybody who's not familiar, I'll play Deathspell Omega really quick so you can see what I mean. This is so bland and predictable. This is so basic and plain. Like, compare that to this. If the point of black metal is to be challenging and difficult and dangerous, if you played Deathspell Omega or you played this, which one do you think would make most people look at you like you're fucking crazy and be like, what the fuck? How could you listen to this shit? This is definitely going to get more of that reaction than Deathspell would, right? If you can reconstruct the way someone judges the art, it is already good art, regardless of the skill and ability applied to its creation. That's exactly right. Klimt, Newman, Mondrian, exactly. I fucking love Mondrian. And Klimt. I love all that, like, first half of the 20th century, like, modernist painting. I fucking absolutely love that shit. I love this shit. I listen to this sometimes for hours. I'm sorry you made it to this stream where I've listened to the most fucking atrocious, bizarre, play this for someone who quote-unquote likes everything. Exactly. You people think all I listen to is fucking pop punk and rap. I legitimately love this shit. And the reason I love it is because I genuinely think it is truly great, brilliant art. I'll use douchey language here, but I think in order to appreciate this, you have to have either pretty sophisticated art appreciation skills. And I say skills because I took a lot of fucking art history in school. I had to, because I was a graphic design major. I took like an entire fucking year of art history. And I learned a lot from it. I learned how to appreciate art far more than I ever did before. One of my favorite artists that I discovered from that is Brock, who did a lot of this this kind of shit. This is a violin. You might think this is basic, like something you'd see on a Panera wall now, but this is 100 fucking years ago. This is wild shit. To like deconstruct something like this in 1920 was insane. Another one of my favorite paintings, very famous. This is Duchamp. This is called Nude Descending a Staircase, and look at how he's captured motion. This is almost like motion blur. And again, this is from like the 20s. To be able to like capture motion blur before motion blur was even a thing, these guys were on another fucking level. From the chat, I went to school for art too and did that full year of art history and theory. It changed my life. Totally did. This is how an insect sees motion, exactly. Another one that I really like a lot, which truly is barely music, is this. Yeah, I love this shit. This is fire to me. This is fire. If it sounds like Silent Hill, it wins, exactly. Yeah, oh, this is great. I love this. This is like 10 out of 10 to me right here. This sounds like the music they would play to classic cartoons from the 20s. Yes, Dwarf Fortress Core, exactly. I'm not being ironic. I love this. I legitimately love this. I like challenging art. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus and Lady Gaga. I like the most accessible, polished pop in the world. I love that too. But I also love really difficult, challenging, weird outsider art. Any live footage? I don't think these people played shows. I am avoiding using the word music to describe it. Well, it's not just music. To me, it's art. I look at this the same way that I look at painting. Let's listen to something that someone recommended. Emit the Dark Bleeding. Let's listen to this. Okay, I like it so far. This reminds me of Pansonic. Yeah, I like this so far. Yes, this is actual pain put on tape. That's right. This is good. I'm gonna sound pretentious as fuck, but I'm just gonna say it. I really feel like a lot of music fans, especially metal fans, would benefit from studying some art history, especially the futurists and dadaists, early 20th century modernist painters, because they were really asking a lot of questions about the nature of art and pushing the limits and just sort of asking really fundamental questions about, like, you know, what is and isn't art, and, you know, what are the parameters of, can this be considered art or music or whatever, whether you like that stuff or not. And probably a lot of people don't. I actually do like it on a purely formal basis. I think you would enjoy music and art a lot more if you would just kind of go down that rabbit hole a bit. Looking at the grotesque allows us to admire the beauty of things even more. Exactly. That's why I want to listen to Havohej and Selena Gomez. What is this? That sounds good. Oransi Pazuzu. I don't know if that's a person or a band, but I like the name because it sounds weird. It's a band. Okay. Let's listen to it. Any recommendations for art history videos or articles? I would read a fucking textbook, you know? Read an art history textbook. I did. This fucking book changed my fucking life, called Graphic Design Manual. Knowing that I listen to this kind of music, you'll understand why these sort of exercises as a graphic designer were so transformational to me. These are exercises, so this is the kind of stuff that I did in design school. The assignment here would be something like this. So there's a 3x3 grid, and you have to make compositions out of that. It's a 3x3 grid of 3x3 grids. Or this one, it looks like it's like 7 columns by you know, a 7x7 square or something like that grid, and you have to make compositions using 8 squares out of that grid, that kind of thing. This would be the international style. This was my favorite font, or typeface as the nerds say. Accidents Grotesque. This is actually from like 1895. It's the precursor to Helvetica. So like international style graphic design was like the thing I really fell in love with. This sort of thing. You know, this is from like the 40s, the 50s. And people still rip it off, you see. Like, people still do this kind of stuff. But, like, look at this shit. This is from the fucking 50s. This is Josef Müller-Brockmann, very well-known Swiss graphic designer, doing this shit in, like, fucking 1952. It's insane. These guys were so ahead of the curve. I really actually enjoy talking about, I guess you would call it philosophy of art. I spent a lot of time doing that in school. And I still enjoy it. When I'm talking about music, I have different hats on. One hat might be a fan of, like, just, do I like this or not? Which I don't have that hat on very often. Another hat I would have on would be the industry analyst hat, which would be like, is this going to be popular or not, and here's why. A hat that I would very rarely wear, but is one that I care about, would be that sort of like artist hat. And I don't mean artist in the sense of like musician, I mean an actual artist. Because again, I went to school for this shit. I was a graphic designer for 10 years. The heads of the program are all these uptight, like, German and Swiss people who went to the Bauhaus. The curriculum was based on shit from the 50s. I actually really enjoy that. And so I don't put that hat on very often, but I enjoy it. And that to me is, when I listen to black metal, that's the hat that I'm wearing. That's the reason why I appreciate this stuff in a way that I don't appreciate Behemoth and 1349 and shit. yeah, okay. Thank you for hanging out on the stream and talking about black metal and listening to Havohej with me. I had fun. Hopefully everyone else enjoyed it too.